world yet.
Oh, you gotta go. It's Artist Alley.
Yeah.
Really dope workout there, including some of your Korean counterparts.
One is right there.
Oh, well, hello.
Hello.
Jen.
Hello, She-Hulk. How are you? Good. Thank you. You too.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We have fun.
Yeah, so much fun. It's been so nice meeting everyone.
I've seen some very fun poses. Some twerking.
Yeah.
Some hulking.
Yes.
Yeah, you've been having fun. What has been the most surprising pose request that you've gotten?
I mean, there's no surprises, but there's joys. I do love doing a She-Hulk pose. We did a Orphan Black pose 2 days ago where we were the sisters all standing in like a little Russian doll line, which was really cool. Yeah, I don't know, it's been so amazing. And seeing the different costumes, there was a Jen transforming, like post-transformation. So she had been She-Hulk and now she was in her lawyer gear and she was in ripped clothing, which was like very, very beautiful. Was that you? Yeah, that was amazing. I love that.
How does it feel that people are out here cosplaying you?
I mean, it's the best. It's like the greatest joy because you do something and you don't know how it's going to be received. And the thing that I love so much about She-Hulk is that like the people who loved it really and really got it. And that was like who we made it for. And so we really appreciate seeing you guys and hearing from you guys and hearing the specifics of what you enjoyed about it and whether you thought it felt like the comics or whatever. Like that's the biggest joy, for sure.
All right, so I don't want to leave our Orphan Black fans out there. You know, the funny thing is, a lot of times when actors play a role for that many years, it's pretty linear, right? You are one character for the 5 years it might evolve, but you just took it a notch up.
Yeah.
And actually, I was talking to another one of the actors that are here this weekend who said when she was walking into the role of Crazy Jane, she actually called you.
Oh yeah,
because of your expertise in playing so many personalities.
Yeah, we talked about that, about like the complexity of defining all these different characters and what you key into to find them, because you often have to change kind of within an hour and a half. You're doing hair, makeup, and that's the amount of time you have to change completely into someone else, someone with a different worldview, someone with a different body, who moves through the world differently with a different rhythm, a different upbringing. So it is kind of, but I always say it's like I watch theater and I watch actors who do one-person shows and they can switch in the moment back and forth. They can have conversations with themselves. I watched Billy West do a Futurama live read and he was switching between like the professor and Fry with the comedic timing of the show, and I was like, that is actually genius. Like that is a level.
That I am so sad I wasn't there.
It was amazing, yeah.
So for you, a lot of people asked, it was already on the list, so I gotta ask this first. Do you have a favorite clone sister that you played? That's a lot.
Do you have an idea? It's a hard one to answer because I love them all, and it was usually whichever one I was playing in that moment was the one I loved the most. But the ones that have like stuck with me and that kind of come back a lot from fans are like Helena. Yes, she just like allowed me a lot of freedom to eat whatever was on set and just be a little creature. And Allison, of course, is very close to my heart. And then Cosima, like Cosima's impact is just like, there's nothing like that. And that means the world to me. So they're all, I don't know. Crystal? It's Crystal.
One of the things I always love to ask folks though, because when you are in that role for a while, there's things that don't make it to screen, right? For you, were there any clone sisters that were developed that didn't make it to screen that you wish would have made it to screen?
There were a bunch of passport photos of different clones, and one of them was like Italian, and there was like, and Katya died pretty quickly. I don't know. I would have been curious to explore some of them, but I also might have never survived it.
There's a lot of backstories in your head, I can imagine. Now, from a genetically identical situation to genetically mutated.
Right. We love genetics.
We love a good genetics, especially one that turns a super lawyer into a superhero.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You started She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and as an attorney, I was very excited because She-Hulk could have gone a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You were the first live-action Jen Walters in the MCU.
Yeah.
And I know, probably like a lot of the fans, I long awaited her stepping in because she's a baddie and she takes no gruff from anyone. Were you familiar with She-Hulk before you got into the role? And then for you, it feels like there were some physical things that you had to step into. How did you prep for the role?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I got the audition and I read Jess's script, which was so much fun, and immediately made me obsessed with like, who is this character? I went back and read all of the comics and found that there was so much in how all the artists had explored her visually and also tonally, because she could go from these like quite dramatic, intense things to like total goofsville. And I loved that you know, the spectrum that she sort of like was within, and the comedy for sure, and the sort of irreverence of busting through that fourth wall and being like, I'm not into this, and I'd rather not be doing this. Like there's that great messed up skipping scenario where she's like nude and skipping for a bunch of pages. But like, yeah, but it was just so creative. And so for me, it was like pulling from that, like looking at the frames and trying to let those wash over me. Like we would be doing scenes and Ginger Gonzaga, who's a genius and played my best friend in the show. She'd be like, oh, this is a comic book moment, because I'd be like, I don't know, I'd do something and she'd be like, that looks like a frame from the comics. So we were always pulling from those kinds of things. And then physically, it was just like walking on those platforms and wearing that little suit, which is not, wait, there's no She-Hulk here. It's closer to what I'm wearing right now. But in a little gray, you know, pajama suit with the camera here, trying to be tough and cool, which is not, you know, not easy. That's the hardest acting job.
It's definitely more complicated walking and chewing gum. So for you, She-Hulk is very different, and you touched on it. It's a very different kind of superhero. It's not Steve Rogers, it's not Clint Barton. You aren't showing up as yourself with a suit on. This is CGI, you are mocapping it, there's effects, there's post. You don't know what you're going to look like in this scene until you see the scene. What was it like the first time you saw yourself hulked out on screen?
Oh my God, it was amazing. So it was on set and the VFX artists had come over to me and were like, do you want to see this cool little thing? And it was just a shot of me sitting in a chair and doing this. Futzing with, I think, the glove that I was wearing, but it looks like I'm just playing with my hands. And the detail of it was so, like I could see the breathing and I could see the thoughts, and I was just like, oh, this is so amazing. But I really hadn't imagined what it had looked like. And Mark Ruffalo, ever heard of him? And he's the best. And we talked a lot about feeling kind of like weirdo outsiders because we didn't get to be in cool costumes. We didn't get to look like superheroes. And so that just sort of inherently makes you feel like a little outside, which kind of works for the Hulks. They're kind of a little outside of things, yeah.
And they I mean, at least biologically, they're two of a kind. There is a fan question I'd like to hit on this one. You did get a chance to work with our Hulk. You got a chance to work with Ruffalo.
Yeah.
Right?
Ruffalo.
How was that, especially knowing like how much time y'all spent and just y'all going at it? And were there any fun moments And how did you keep from not laughing all the time?
There was only fun moments with Mark. Like, he's such a joy, and I don't know if any of you guys have met him before, but he really is a big kid, like in the best way. He is such an amazing scene partner. He's so funny, he's so weird, and has just like a great sense of humor that's always going. And he also shows up every day going like, I don't know what this is. I'm nervous. You know, like he just really approaches it with this beginner mentality, which is what makes him such an amazing artist and such a great performer to watch, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, every day was so much fun, and we talked so much about the characters, and we improvised a lot of the stuff that is in that like training montage is us just goofing around and them like filming us on a Saturday and being like, I guess this is the show. but yeah, it was a joy. It was so much fun.
I love that because folks also were so excited when you broke that wall. When you, and wasted no time. You're like, no, she's breaking the fourth wall, it's what's happening. She is talking to you, audience.
Yeah.
And that's really rare. You know, one, how did you kind of, yes, I can understand that. We are going to get to the princess. You hear that, right? They're going how did you approach that? Were you nervous about this being a thing, and how did you find the balance?
Yeah, for sure. It was nerve-wracking just because I'd seen it done so well on like Fleabag and stuff like that, and I was like, wow, that's like a very specific relationship that performer has with an audience that they don't even know. And they're having to create that intimacy and that immediacy. And I think what I enjoyed about it, and is maybe like a nerdy actor thing, but the first time She-Hulk actually looks at the camera, and this is not when she's Jen as the lawyer, but when she's She-Hulk and she kind of does a double take, there's something to me that's interesting about a woman who becomes aware of the system within which she's operating, and something about her embodying this other part of her makes her very aware of the system. And she's like suddenly like able to comment on it and able to change it as she grows, you know, in consciousness and awareness. So there was this kind of understory that I was really interested in exploring, which is like when you start to see the cracks and the way that you are fitting into something, or people are making you fit into something, and you start to rebel against that, how do you like claim that? How do you feel that power? So as much as she's like a, you know, formidable human in terms of just her body, it's more about her consciousness that to me was interesting in exploring.
And I think, yeah, right? I think that's it's something so unique about Jen Walters and She-Hulk in that position. I have a question from Teresa from Dallas. My lawyer colleagues and I, who love Marvel, were obviously big fans of She-Hulk. Was there a legal advisor on set to try to get things right, even if they didn't succeed?
It's like a positive dig.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there were like people who came on every now and again to consult when we were doing the courtroom scenes, but you gotta also just, I don't know, it's fiction. We're having fun with it. Yeah.
From Jessica,
Yes.
how much did you have to practice?
Can't
How
wait.
much did you have to practice for the twerking scene with Megan Thee Stallion?
Well,
Attorney at law.
in that specifically?
Yes.
Well,
just
I-
twerking scene itself.
Okay, so I'd been to multiple Megan Thee Stallion concerts before this. So there was, my prep began years ago.
What she's saying is she is prepped for this her entire life.
I was ready to go, and I was shaking, and Megan was so cool and so calm.
And so
I was-
tall.
So tall and so sweet. And the best thing about her, and I've talked to a few people about this, but she's such a dork. Like, she loves comics. She's like so into the culture of it. And so for her to be on that set was like very exciting. You know, she got to live out a little dream as well. But that was the greatest moment of my life. It's all downhill from there.
She's gonna be
I
nice.
also love how many people were like, that ruined Marvel. I'm like, shut up.
I'm sorry, have you not read Dan Slott's run of She-Hulk?
Right, exactly. You would have totally had her twerking at some point.
I have dubbed it She-Hulk switches places with Tony Stark. So from Cynthia, which character from Orphan Black did you enjoy playing the most? I mean, we kind of asked, I had to answer that,
But it was really whoever was in front of me at that moment, yeah. Or whoever got to play somebody being someone else. That was always really fun. If one of them was playing, if Allison was playing Sarah or something, that was always very exciting.
So from Leah, what is the most drastic change you had to do for a role?
Ooh. I did a movie, I actually met someone today who really liked this movie. It was called Destroyer. And I got to wear like prosthetics for that part because I was playing someone who had gone through quite an intense life and had like a lot of physical wear and tear on her body, and it was like 10 years in the future with Nicole Kidman, which was amazing. So that part, but then I was a ghost in a movie called The Messengers, and I was in like full facial prosthetics, and I had to be dunked in a like hot tub full of sod and water, and the sod got under my prosthetics and ripped my chin open, and then I had to go to a wedding with like a boil here, basically. Yeah. That's movie making.
For the love of the art.
Exactly.
Oh, I love this question. What is the most memorable audition you've been on, good or bad?
Oh, okay. So I was asked to do a movie that was like based on King Lear, and I've never done Shakespeare before. And so I sat down with the director and I was like, you should probably read me, because we should read. Like, it was an offer, and I was like, no, you should read, because I don't know if I can do this, and like I want us to be able to like work through this and like find it and see if it works. So there was like this whole session that was set up where I went in and I like read with another actor for like an hour, did all these Shakespeare scenes, and I was so high on myself. I was like, I'm killing this. The director at one point was like, do you need coffee? And I'm like, I'm high on Shakespeare. Like, it was so nerdy. And then 2 weeks later, I still hadn't heard anything back. And then they called me and were like, we're going in a different direction. So I can't do Shakespeare, is the lesson learned. But also, auditions are important. Important to know.
There's always a lesson.
There's always a lesson to learn.
I learned that you have been learning American Sign Language for a year. How do you learn ASL? Are you taking classes?
Yes, I have an amazing teacher named Naisha Prince. She's an actor also, and she has been teaching me over Zoom. And we meet up for like an hour, 2 hours a week, and it's amazing. I did a play last year that was called Grey House, and I worked with a few actors. You saw it, right? No, somebody saw it. Someone saw it in here, but a few of the actors were deaf, and so ASL was part of the show, and I just fell in love with the language and wanted to be able to like communicate with people, you know. So yeah, it's just been amazing. Yeah. Anyone else? Is anyone else signed in here? Yeah. Yes. Awesome. I saw Venezuelan Sign Language recently. Oh yeah, thank you. I saw Venezuelan Sign Language recently, and it was totally, I mean, it's obviously a totally different language, but it was so cool to see that. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so what is your favorite Jennifer Walters line?
I think we know. Captain America, fuck! Which almost didn't make it into the show.
What?
Yeah, that day me and Mark were like drunk or whatever. We were like sitting at that bar for 3 hours and they kept throwing different lines at me to sort of soften it. It was never gonna. It would never be
No,
soft.
it wasn't, because you went for it.
Right.
You went for the gusto, and I'm here for it. Speaking of, what was it like working with Charlie Cox?
Oh my God. Amazing. Have you guys met him? Has he been here before?
Yeah,
Dallas.
definitely Dallas, and then I know I've been
What's that?
great.
He's so great. And what's so cool is like that character, he brought him onto this show that is a totally different tone, and he just like adapted it and like played within this totally goofy world and was so funny and so present, and I mean, a total babe. It was very easy to babe out on him.
That being said, there was a fan question that asked,
Oh.
do you feel like Jen Walters is still dating Daredevil?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think she is? I mean, I think she's keeping her options open, but I think she would for sure hit that again.
I mean, you know, long distance.
And it was also nice to her, which is hard. Not a lot of guys are very nice to her.
All right, 2 more fan questions. Who would win, and this is from Parker, who would win in a wrestling match, arm wrestling?
Oh,
arm wrestling. I just want to clear that up. Arm wrestling match. She-Hulk or Thor?
Oh. Ouch.
They are not friends from work.
What did you say? I heard a Thor scream very loudly. He's here, I guess. She-Hulk would say something distractive and then do this.
We said nothing about it being a fair.
No, for sure. She'd literally be like, look over there, and then like,
Yes.
yeah.
All right, so I love when fans do this. All right, James from Colorado. If your clones took part in an amazing race competition and could team up with an MCU hero, who would they team up with? Only rule, no super speed, portals, teleporting, and flying are allowed. What?
So none of the things that make them who they are.
Who is that? You have a significant amount. Wait.
My first thought was, well, and I guess he is maybe part of the Toad. Toad from X-Men. I was like, I would for sure team up with the girls. I don't know. Who would it be? Who do you guys think? I don't know. Yeah?
I heard a Black Widow over here.
Yes. Yeah, I would love that.
Valkyrie.
Ooh, very cool.
That also means Valkyrie is sans transportation. Only
It's like, what would we need out of the clones, what they provide? What is missing then? Probably a lot. They're all very fallible.
I was gonna say, which clones are we talking?
They're all just human beings who are trying to make it through. Yeah, if they can't use their superpowers then.
I don't mean, what other superpowers? They didn't say you can have super strength. They didn't say you could
Okay, She-Hulk. It would be She-Hulk. Oh, clearly. Deadpool's a good.
All right, I don't know if
I'm into it.
I don't know if everybody else in the team is gonna make it if Deadpool's there.
That's right. Exactly. That's a great point.
I'm pretty sure the clones are gonna be done for if it's Deadpool.
Yeah, they're all dead immediately.
Like the Deadpool's gonna make it, so the team will win.
Yeah, that's all that matters is winning.
All right. For those out there who are curious about your next couple of projects, I know some are still in development, and you've been doing just a lot of fun things. Where can they look for you next? What projects are you excited about?
Super excited about this. There's 2 movies I did. One I can't mention yet, but the other one is, I don't think I can, but the other one is called The Monkey, and yeah, and it's based on a Stephen King short story. It's like a horror, but also funny, and it's gory as hell, and
Sounds
really,
like it's perfect for you.
yes, it's like right up my alley in terms of everything that I like to watch, and it was so much fun to do. And Oz Perkins directed it, who I've worked with now a couple times, and Elijah Wood's in it, and yeah, and my best friend on the planet, who I've been best friends with since I was 7, is in it as well.
That sounds like a dream.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's gonna be great. I think you guys will like it.
Where can they find
I
it?
think February 2025. Would you say? 15th. So after you guys have a romantic day, then you can go watch this gore fest, which is also very romantic, I'm sure.
I was going to say,
For all
or
of us.
for the romantic day, go
Yeah.
watch the Gore Fest.
Exactly. Next year. Yeah.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Tatiana. I also want to say I wore today's duster in your honor.
Get it out. Yay!